So, how does Ash Forest perform with how much money you can get in 1 hour in Black Desert Online? I'm actually pretty excited to cover this spot because I've always wanted to do this grind spot, but really never had the gear until most recently. But aesthetically and just overall theme, this is probably my favorite spot that I've been to so far. But hey, grab yourself a cup of coffee and let's get into this week's Money Per Hour Grind series video. If you're curious about other grind spots, then check out the playlist down below. And remember, there are timestamps as well. So just click on what section that you're most interested in. But in this video, I will be covering and showing you the location, rotations, any mechanics, and then finally looking at that loot slash money potential. Also, just like my other videos, my normal disclaimer, but this video is geared towards a person who may be checking out the spot for the first time. So your money per hour may be a little less at first and then gradually improve after you get a few hours under your belt. Also, I'm not perfect. So if I happen to leave anything that you think is important for the spot, then let me know down in the comments. And oh yeah, I did try Dekia Ash Forest and I literally was getting like one shot and died like 4 times in the matter of a few minutes. So I doubt that I'll be covering Decky Ash Forest anytime soon, which is unfortunate, but at least I tried it. So let's go ahead and jump into this week's video covering Ash Forest. So this guy just kind of popped out of nowhere, huh? Oh, come on. What? Wait, why are you crouching? Why are you crouching? Oh, no. Hey, leave me alone. Oh, no. Oh, my gosh. All right. So, like what I was trying to tell you before, this spot is going to be located in between Grana and Calphion. And so, if I pull up the map, well, I'm going to make sure I don't drop down first. So, if I pull up the map, we have it's located right here, and we have Grana right here, and then we have Calphion right over here, and then we have Heidel over in this direction here. So yeah, really cool. You can kind of see the fog right here behind me. Oh, I'm sitting down. All right. But you can see I have the fog kind of right here. And just like I said, aesthetically, really pleasing. So once you get here, there are a few rotations in this spot that I'll show you a little bit later, right? But there's a Marni rotation, and then there's kind of a main rotation outside of the Marni realm. So I'll show you those both right now.
My silent groan, wizard staff in hand, I wield the night, killing shadows in this endless fight. Barnas whisper from the darkened trees, their twisted forms brought to their knees. The wind carries echoes of their cries as I paint the ground in muted grays and sighs. Through the gloom I find my way, the forest calls, it makes me stay. With every breath I feel its pull, in the ash my soul grows full. Grinding down the ghosts unseen, through the haze I break their dream. A wizard's fury, a scythe that swings, in the ash forest where silence sings. Trees, their bodies break with ancient pleas. Casting spells, I carve my path. A wizard's dance in shadows' wrath. The scythe gleams like the crescent moon, swinging light through the darkened gloom. It strike a note in the forest song, a melody where the lost belong. Through the gloom I find my way, the forest calls, it makes me stay. With every breath I feel its pull, in the ash my soul grows full. Grinding down the ghosts unseen, through the haze I step. Whispers of the lost, their secrets kept. The sky is heavy, the air is cold, but in this grind I feel so bold. Barnas come and Barnas go, falling in the dark below. With every kill I feel the weight, yet in this dance I seal my fate. Grinding down the ghosts unseen, through the haze I break their dream. A wizard's fury, a scythe that swings in the ash forest where silence sings. Ashes settle but I remain, a wizard's journey in endless pain. Grinding through the endless night, in ashen whispers I find my light.
So gear. So let me pull up the Monster Zone info here at this spot. And so if we take a look at Ash Forest, you can see it. So there's three of them, right? So you have the non Dekia spot, and then you have the Dekia just one spot, and then you have the Dekia two spot, and you can definitely see how gradually the gear score increases, right? Dekia one, I was literally dying in a matter of seconds, multiple times within a few minutes. I couldn't even imagine what Dekia two would do to you. So we'll just stick with Ash Forest, non Dekia. And so you can see here when we look at view total stats, right? So the recommended AP is going to be 800 plus, and then the DP is going to be 430 plus. And, you know, if you have kind of close to that in-game gear, it's really not that bad, right? When this spot first released and if you didn't have kind of close to that gear range, you know, it was definitely one of the top tier PvE spots, right? Because it also dropped the Deboreka necklace. And now things have kind of changed with the gear score increasing. So it's definitely a lot more manageable to do the spot. But if you are a little bit lower on that gear score range, I mean, it can definitely kill you for sure, right? So you just have to be mindful of the mobs. But I would say overall, not too bad. Not too bad. So mechanics here at Ash Forest. So once you find that rotation that you're going to do, so you're going to want to target the Barnas right away, which is kind of like a teal looking color mob. And you can kind of see down here. So that's him right there. He's got that little teal little kind of lantern that he's carrying there. And so you're going to want to make sure you attack and kill him first, right? Because if you leave it alone, he can do an AoE to potentially slow you down, which will affect your grind speed. And, you know, depending on your gear, can also chunk your health. But another important reason to focus this specific mob is because once you hit the Barna, that will aggro the other mobs called Varnas around him. And then that will just allow you just to get extra loot. And I would also recommend hitting the seed close by, right? So there's a seed kind of right down. I think that's right there. So there's a seed there. And usually there's a seed close by to the Barnas, right? And so once you attack the Barna to kind of get him started, then you can go and attack the seed as well. And that will also spawn in smaller mobs that will potentially give you more trash an hour. But again, that's kind of optional. Which I'll show you a little bit later, my numbers, but one of the hours I didn't even attack the seed at all, unless like my AoE spell from my wizard hit it. But I really wasn't focusing the seeds, and I was still pulling like 10k trash. So it's kind of optional, but if you really want to pull kind of those higher end numbers, you probably want to try to add in the seed into your rotation to get those smaller mobs to spawn. Oh, and I also highly recommend getting some knockdown resistant crystals if you are potentially getting CC'd a lot, right? I didn't really have any issues with this with my Awakening Wizard, but maybe, you know, if you're playing a class who might have a few holes in terms of protections with like your combo, then I would say definitely put knockdown crystals on, especially if you are lower gear. So, buffs that you may want to run to be a little bit more efficient at clearing can include a simple craw mill, right? If you're under the monster AP cap. And for most people, simple craw mill is going to be perfectly fine, right? If potentially you're like really just super geared and you're over the monster AP cap, then the exquisite mill might be the best option to get some of those extra other stats. And then you have the corrupt frenzy drought, tent villa buffs, church buffs, Vel's heart, best in slot artifacts, or if you don't have those, then the general AP monster artifacts is fine. You can really use any PVE lightstone combination that you can afford. This is the set that I'm using just because I don't really care to spend billions of silver on lightstones. Also, you could run a full blown elixir rotation here if you wanted to, and here's kind of a general setup that you may potentially run. All right, so let's go over the drops here at the spot. And so I have the Monster Zone info pulled up, and you can see there's really not that many items that really drop, right? And so, kind of starting at the very beginning here, we have the artifacts, right? So this is going to be the max stamina artifact. Typically, when you get to this point, you probably already have your artifacts, right? The best in slaughter artifacts, hopefully. So you would just kind of process these down to get your, purified lightstones. Uh, the next one here, which is a probably another huge important reason why you're probably coming here, right, is going to be the Deboreka necklace. And you can see that this bad boy here sells for 625 million currently, right? It fluctuates. Usually it's more, this is probably actually the lowest I've ever seen it, to be honest with you. But highly sought out necklace, super rare to get, right? You're probably getting maybe one of these every 4 to 6 hours, give or take, right? Depending on your RNG. And then we come down below. So we have the black leaf. And so these two items here kind of go hand in hand, right? So you need 100 of the black leaves in order to get one of the left lung. And so this item here, if you don't know what it is, you need the left lung and you need the right lung, and that's going to give you a very unique and special costume, which is really cool, right? Because the only way you can get this costume is by actually grinding, which is a good incentive to grind in order to get this. And so actually, I pulled it up here, and so I'll kind of show you what it looks like, right? So if you're not aware, but this is what the outfit kind of looks like. So really cool design. Unfortunately, I don't think you can dye it. I don't think you can, but at least it's something kind of nice to give you, again, an incentive to grind. Next here we have the black stones, right? So that can be used obviously for enhancing or for fail stacks. I sell it on the market. And again, those numbers will vary as well. Kaffir stones. So again, you probably are aware of what Kaffir stones are, but essentially these go into your armor pieces, right? That are not the in-game gear pieces. So once you reach Kaffir level 10 and you get a specific flame, that will give you one of the in-game gear pieces that you need. And so for the most part, if you're coming here, you're probably aware of that, and you probably don't need these. And so you're probably going to sell these on the market. Okay. This is the trash, right? So Spectre's cloth, and you can see here it's selling for 35,000 silver. So pretty good. And then finally here we have the trace of the nature. And so that's just an ingredient that can be used to create a variety of different items. And that sells for currently 47,000, which again is going to fluctuate depending on the market. All right. So let's see here what I got in 1 hour with just using a level 2 loot scroll with no agris. You can pay 50 million to get the tent buff for a 50% increase on your drop rate. So before we go over my few hours though, let's take a look at Garmoth, right? So the potential average money per hour at 138% drop rate, which is what I'm mostly at if there's no drop rate event going on, and using a yellow loot scroll is around 848 million, with the average trash being around 11.7k. And just remember, right, these numbers are from Garmoth, which might not be the most accurate data, but It's the only data that we have to compare with. It's also important to note, right? Your money per hour is really going to vary based on your drop rate. Now, that out of the way, let's take a look at my few hours, which when I was doing the spot, which actually was about a month ago, which is kind of crazy, been so busy with doing other videos, but I was sitting at 198% drop rate for the 3 hours that I was here. And all 3 hours were done with my Awakening Wizard. So my first hour was 418 million and my trash loot was 8.7K. And then my second hour, I got around 424 million. And for the trash loot, I got around 9.9K. And then the third and final hour that I was here, I got around 475 million. And for the trash loot, I got around 10.2K. So at least for each hour, I was improving on my trash loot, right? I was getting a little bit more efficient with clearing the mobs and figuring out the specific kind of rotations. So I'm not gonna lie, I really, really like the spot, right? And I just like the biome here with the dense fog and the mobs just look really cool. Just again, from the very beginning of the video, the aesthetic aspect is just awesome. And you know, I really wanted to try to do the Dekia Ash Forest, but yeah, I'm just not ready for it yet. But overall, the money per hour here is not the greatest, right, compared to other easier spots. Uh, Unless you get lucky enough to get the Deboreka necklace. But, again, the prime reason why you're probably coming here is either for the rich merchant ring piece, which I actually totally forgot to even mention that in the drop loot, which is kind of weird. I don't understand why they don't have that even in the drop section of the Monster Zone info. But yes, this spot does drop the rich merchant ring. So that might be probably the prime reason why you're coming here is to get that piece. Or the other reason is to get that Deboreka necklace. So yeah, that was a lot. If you made it this far into the video, you're awesome. And I thank you for all of the support. And let me know down in the comments, have you tried the spot out yet? And if so, what are your trash numbers looking like? But with that being said, thanks for watching. Hey, I will see you in the next one. Peace.
Sunsets on